Hi, I'm Keith Dyer, editor of the Mobile Network. I'm here at Mobile World Congress 2025 with Paul Sutton, who's Chief Executive Officer of Software Radio Systems. We're going to learn a bit more about who they are, what they do, and how they fit into the ecosystem. So Paul, let's start with that. Tell us about SRS.
Thanks, Keith. So Software Radio Systems, we're an EU company. We're headquartered in Ireland, and we've operations in Ireland, Spain, and Germany. We've been around for about a decade, and we're a pure software provider of 4G and 5G stack software solutions.
Okay, so if you extrapolate a bit more about that then, so where do those solutions go? How do they get integrated into products?
Yeah, good question. So we are a pure software provider, and so we will work with systems integrators. The biggest differentiator that we have is that we're incredibly flexible. So we built the entire stack in-house ourselves, layer 1, 2, and 3. That means that we're not tied to a particular hardware platform, so we can port onto AMD, Intel, ARM, and others. And then we're also scalable from the smallest dual-core ARM embedded system all the way up to a cloud RAN deployment on a data center grade server. So when a customer comes to us with a particular platform and a particular use case, we're able to tailor the software to that platform quite easily.
So you mentioned the use case there. Where are we seeing your products deployed? I mean, we're looking in the wider industry around sort of open RAN platforms and being able to use different providers for different use cases. Where are we seeing SRS?
Yeah, good question. So in the past, historically, we've been very successful in high-value niche deployments. So we've done a lot of work in air-to-ground. We've deployed 2 air-to-ground networks, one for commercial use, one for federal government use in the US. And we've also been very active in the satellite domain, in low Earth orbit satellites, where we've had a relationship with AST Space Mobile since the formation of that company. Looking towards 5G, we're working with a number of systems integrators both in Europe and the US who are deploying our software in the field. So we work with Acceleran, who are deploying private 5G networks around Europe, primarily for enterprises. And we work with Antevia, who are a new company out of the UK who are providing a really interesting in-building DAS replacement solution based on SRS RAN. In the US, we're more active in the public safety and defense sectors, where we work with a number of contractors there as well.
And you mentioned satellite there and non-terrestrial networks. Is that also an area for you?
Yeah, that's a huge area of interest at the moment, especially with the growing focus on it around the world. And here at MWC, we're launching our SRS RAN NTN 5G solution, which is our full stack 5G NTN G-Node B solution. Built on an Open RAN architecture, but again with the flexibility to be able to target both transparent and regenerative payloads.
What about the private networks market? Because I know that's an area for what we might say the sort of newer software radio providers are looking to as an opportunity.
We're definitely seeing a lot of growth in that market, especially over the last 12 months. And we're seeing new entrants into that market with the likes of Antevia, who are focusing on specific verticals and on specific use cases. And we're having some success in partnering with integrators who are targeting those verticals. So us as a software provider, we will apply that software to the hardware that suits the use case, and then the systems integrator will deliver that to the customer.
Okay. If I could just ask you then, there are obviously a fair number of RAN software providers out there producing their own sort of layer 1 and up stacks. You're saying your differentiator is that you can deploy in in sort of any hardware, any environment. But what is it that you can do with SRS stack that enables you to deploy in those different, from end to end to private networks to specialized defense use cases?
So it starts with the fact that we built everything from scratch ourselves. So with our decade-long history in developing 4G solutions for weird and wonderful use cases, we realized that we understood the level of modularity that's needed within the software to gain that flexibility. And so building from scratch the 5G solution, that was one of our key objectives, was to ensure that we were as performant as we have always been, but having that extra degree of modularity that allows us to split those interfaces when they're needed. And a good example of that is the work that we've done with RAN Semi. And so RAN Semi are a layer 1 system on chip provider. And so with them, we were able to exploit the FAPI interface between layer 1 and layer 2, where we were able to lift off our layer 2, layer 3, and sit it down on top of RAN Semi's layer 1 for an integrated small cell solution. And so there are multiple sort of examples of those types of splits and those types of partitions.
Okay, so the sorts of companies that should be coming to talk to you here at this event and afterwards are what? What would you say?
So anybody who is targeting private 5G with specific use case requirements. If there are particular hardware platforms that are only suitable for that particular use case, we can guarantee that our software will run it. And so that's really our value that we bring.
Perfect. Paul, thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Keith.